Dear students, in today's class, let's learn some basic things about English verbs. Verb is the most important part of a sentence because it shows what the subject is or what the subject does. Without a verb, we can't make a complete sentence. Let's learn how the verb works in a sentence. Now let's start learning the verbs in English. Verbs are the doing words of sentences, which means the action words in a sentence. Verbs can express physical actions, mental actions, or states of being. Here we can start with verbs which can express physical actions. Here are some sentences with verbs that express physical actions. First one, she sells Pegs and Lucky Heather. Here the verb is mentioned in bold letters. Second sentence, the doctor wrote the prescription. In these two sentences, we can see that the subject is doing an action physically. That means she sells. Selling is a physical action. And the doctor wrote. Wrote is also a physical action. Thus, we can say that these are the verbs which express physical actions. Secondly, we have the verbs which express mental actions. While many verbs express physical actions, verbs can also express mental actions. For example, she considers the job done. Peter guessed the right number. You see, here the verbs considers and guessed show that these are the mental actions of these sentences. Here the subject, that means she and Peter, do not make any physical effort. They just make it as a mental action. Now let's discuss the verbs which express a state of being. You can see that a small but extremely important group of verbs do not express any activity at all. The most important verb in this group is to be. You can see in the table the different forms of be. In past tense, be becomes was or were. But in the present tense, be becomes am, are, is. And in the future, it becomes will be. Here we have some real examples with the verb to be. Edwina is the largest elephant in this area. It was a joke. In these three sentences, you can see is, was, am. These are the forms of the verb to be and which express a state of being, not any activity at all. This is the main point you have to remember when you deal with these types of verbs. When you think about English verbs, you also have to learn auxiliary verbs in English. Because an auxiliary verb, it is also known as helping verb, which accompanies a main verb to help express tense, voice, or mood. The most common auxiliary verbs in English are be and its forms like is, am, are, was, were, will be, that we already discussed in this video, and do and its forms, just like does or did, and also have and its forms, which include has or had. In the first example, you can see Lee has eaten all the pies. Here the auxiliary verb has helps to express the tense, which is in the present perfect tense. We understood it because of this helping verb has. Tense will help you to show the time of the action. In the second example, the table has been prepared. Has been is used as the helping verb, and we can assume that this sentence is in the passive voice. In the third sentence, we can see were and would are used to express the mood. That means, in the beginning of this auxiliary verb, we mentioned that helping verb helps to express tense, voice, or mood. These three examples you can note for getting an idea of auxiliary verbs. Now we can discuss transitive and intransitive verbs in English. A transitive verb is one that acts on something, which means it has a direct object. For example, I saw the dog. Here the verb saw, and which has an object, the dog. And in the second example, Lee ate the pie. You see, ate is the verb here, and it is in the transitive form because it has an object, the pie. Example 3. The postman will give Sarah the letter. You can easily notice we have two objects here, Sarah and the letter. We can consider the direct object. The postman will give Sarah the letter. Here the direct object is the letter. Thus we can assume that in these three examples, transitive verbs are used because these verbs have a direct object. Next one, intransitive verb. It is a verb that does not act on something. That means it has no direct object. For example, the rain fell. Here fell is the verb, and after fell we do not see any object. In the second example, my throat hurts. Hurts is the verb, and after the verb we do not notice any object. You see, in the third example, the cat sneezed, and we can notice after the verb sneezed we do not use any object. Thus we can say that these verbs are intransitive because they do not have any direct object. Now we can learn regular and irregular verbs in English. A regular verb is one that forms its simple past tense and past participle by adding ed or d to the base form of the verb. That means with the first form of the verb we can add d or ed, and we can make the second and the third form. For example, love. It is the first form, and we can add d. It becomes loved. Then it is in the past form, that means in the second form, and the third form also loved, which shows the word love is a regular verb. And what about irregular verb? An irregular verb is one that does not conform to this ruling. That means in irregular verb we do not add d or ed with the base form. For example, tell, told, told, bleed, bled, bled. In these examples, we can see that we do not add d or ed with the base form as we did with love. These types of words we can call irregular verbs. One thing I would like to remind you is that every verb form in English has two parts. The first part is time, which means present, past, and future. And the second part is the aspect, which are simple, continuous, perfect, and perfect continuous. After learning all these basic things about English verbs, you can follow our English grammar videos. It is available in the playlist of BAJUZ English. All the videos regarding the English tenses will help you to learn English verbs very well. That's all about today's class. Thank you for attending this session.